Hello, cool. We're on. I'm Aaron with the Azure PowerShell team. The rest of the team is sitting in that room over there. Hello, team.
Hello.
Hi.
And and then we also have Hyunho from the compute team joining us.
Hi.
Actually, Hyunho, I'll go ahead and let you start so that you can cut out if you'd like.
Okay.
So we just wanted to talk about the output type for long-running operations that were fixed recently in the compute commandlets. Can you describe what that was and what that was for?
So it's about the post operation.
Uh-huh.
So the issue was the in our service CRP. So it didn't follow the ARM guideline for the returning the post the response.
Yeah.
And previously that issue was actually hidden by the client library behavior, because of when the old auto rest generate the client library, it actually they make it deserialize that type, even though we didn't follow the ARM guideline. The issue is for the long running post operation, we return both the Azure async header and location header. And then previously, now the ARM guideline is first they pull on the Azure async header, and then if that is complete, then they call additional call against the location header to get the value of the final object. And previously the auto generated client library didn't follow that ARM guideline, and they just deserialized the last response body of Azure async header, and that actually worked with the because we didn't our response body is not, even though it's not follow the ARM guideline, that is actually worked before. But they update the 1xk team updated the client library behavior such that it follow the ARM guidelines. So they call additional location header after the polling is complete, and then that actually break the deserialization. So
My bad.
the fix was we fixed our Swagger spec and also generated the client library and then test, and then use that client library for the PowerShell.
Awesome.
Yeah, there are we still have two more issues. One is the run command, and the other is log analytics.
Yeah.
These are actually the even though we fixed the Swagger spec, the CRP's response body is not actually the application JSON. It's a valid JSON, but it's not application JSON. So the updated client library could not deserialize that, even though we updated the Swagger spec. So because the run command is very hard, so we already fixed in the CRP server side service, and then it is rolling out. So I think in July we can fix that command.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, I think we have like the other ones that you mentioned, like the VM run command and some things like that. We have some issues open on that.
Yeah.
And I know you guys are working on fixing that on the server side. So awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add? I don't see any questions from the gallery online right now, but do you have anything else that you want to add that shipped recently in compute before we move on?
So there's nothing else for the recent shift, but in the upcoming shift, we will have probably during August we will have two major the API sets. One is a caps and one is a gallery.
Okay.
Our gallery, and then another one is we will improve the list get Azure VMSS because our service actually is accept all the OData, like the expand and then filtering.
Yep.
But the commandlet doesn't have. We didn't actually build that, so we will add it soon.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks a lot for joining us, Hyunho. What time is it for you?
It's 10:12 a.m. So,
Oh, are you over here right now?
yeah, I'm here.
Nice. We should have seen if we could have gotten you to join our team room, but that's fine. I was like, it might have been a little early for you, or late, super late, right? All right, cool. Thanks for joining us, Yanho. Feel free to stick around if you'd like, or peace out. Either way is fine.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Okay, so we also had some preview modules that we want to talk about. So don't worry, Perry, you'll come up eventually. We invited some people from our other teams. I don't think that they were able to make it, but definitely when you're, if you want to see what's going on, look for Azure RM and preview in the gallery, and you'll see some modules that are preview that maybe have features that are in public preview, things like that. We've got 3 big ones out right now. There's a storage preview module right now that implements OAuth, so that you can use OAuth to authenticate instead of the SaaS keys and things like that, SaaS tokens. We've also got an AAD file integration. Who worked with the surgeon and the storage team on that? Does anybody want to? It was Mark.
Yeah, that's why he was on vacation.
Because I actually don't know a ton about that, but if you're interested in what's going on, I think the AAD team has some docs on that on their site as well, so check that out. And then also SQL job execution support in a preview module as well. So check those out. A lot of service teams have been pushing out a lot of preview modules now. Now that we've made it a little bit easier for them and enabled some of those scenarios, it's a lot easier for those teams to get some of their cutting edge features out to all of you as preview modules as they kind of land on a good design and everything like that. The other thing that we wanted to talk about was, I don't think Sergey could make it, but we recently shipped the SignalR module for Azure PowerShell. So if you haven't checked that out, go to the build, videos, and there's a pretty cool demo, I think, that Hanselman does. I think Hunter and Hanselman do a pretty cool demo of a SignalR deployment in Azure. You just kind of tell your ASP.NET Core web app that SignalR is up in Azure, and it kind of does everything for you. It's pretty cool. Okay, so next up we have Vlad. Vlad, did you want to do a demo at all? Or just talk about the completers that you're working on?
Yes, I can show a demo.
Cool. You might have to join the call. Make sure to mute as you join. So Vlad, while you're getting ready, I'll go ahead and kick it over to Yanni for a bit while you're joining the call. Okay, Yanni's going to talk about some Net Core support that we have going on. Yanni, what is the latest and greatest in the world of Net Core support?
Okay, so in 0.11, that was like the initial version where we converted most of the different modules over to Net Core. And now, since we've gone to 0.12, we've made a lot of bug fixes. Primarily, there was a number of dependencies that were not Net Core specific. They were the regular .NET framework, and this would cause them to in certain cases not run properly on Linux. So we fixed up a lot of those. There were a couple modules that we had to remove because we need to coordinate with the service teams to have them upgrade their dependencies and do other work in there to get them up to Net Core / Net Standard level. So the other thing is that we're getting closer to making this into our main deployment setup. We've converted over a lot of the test projects so that we make sure we have appropriate coverage on both Linux and Windows desktop. And Is there anything else specific that I can think of?
I'll talk about all of that. I can talk a bit more about that plan as well towards the end.
Okay.
I think the bigger point, right, is just that kind of like you said, almost everything has been converted. There's like maybe 1% of the code base that's kind of left behind right now. And we're still not shipping the net core models at quite a regular interval, but we're shipping them more frequently. And so the 0.12 net core models coincide with what, 6.2 or something like that? 6.1, I think 6.2 or 6.1. So if you haven't had a chance, we've been on 0.11 for a little while. So if you haven't had a chance and you're checking out the new modules, make sure to. Hey Willie.
Hello.
Our call is at 11. I sent you.
Nice.
Hey, Willie.
Willie, do you want to join?
I'll maybe watch while you guys do this.
Okay, cool. Thanks for being on top of it though, even though I sent you the wrong link like an idiot. So everyone join Willie in an hour and he'll stick around for now. Okay, so so what we were talking about is just that there's a lot of functionality that's being moved over, and 0.12 is pretty much the same as 6.2. So check it out, download it if you haven't had a chance to download it. By the way, as we move along, there is a chat window in YouTube. Feel free to send us messages, and I'll take those questions and read them to the presenter or the group or whomever. Okay, Vlad, are you ready? If not, it's okay. We've got others.
For unplugging.
No problem. Don't worry about it. Okay, Perry, you're up then.
All right. Okay. Is there a way to present your screen on here?
Yes. So hover over the top, and over on the left, there's a green button that says Screen Share.
Okay, yeah. Green button.
Yeah,
got it. Your entire screen.
Yep.
Share, man.
And then I will probably give you. Yep. I will make your screen the important one. There you go. Nice.
Can you guys see it?
I can see it.
Oh, you can. I think I probably need to bump up the text here.
Yeah, give it a few control pluses.
Control plus. Nothing happens.
Okay, so Perry, one of the things that we're trying to do here is we don't want this to just be like, hey, we're a team at Microsoft. We're going to tell you about a bunch of stuff. We know that some of you contribute. We know that some of you take, a very active role in the types of development that we're doing on Azure PowerShell. And so I'm kind of the opinion, let's talk about some of the nitty gritty stuff, maybe the stuff that doesn't, interest you as an end user all the time, but is interesting in the way that we are trying to develop the product moving forward. So Perry is going to talk about how we've made it easier to indicate deprecations and things like that in Azure PowerShell for all of you, but can actually talk about some of the engineering behind it.
So a couple of sprints ago, we added a few deprecation attributes that you can decorate your commandlets or their parameters with. There are like three broad categories here. Like, if you want to deprecate a commandlet, if you want to deprecate a particular parameter in it, or you want to call out that, the output type of the commandlet's changing. And then there's a whole bunch of miscellaneous stuff. Like, if let's say you just want to call out that internals of a commandlet are changing, or, something that doesn't fall into it, then there's this breaking change attribute that you can use called generic breaking change. For the purposes of this demo, I'm just going to demo two types of deprecation attributes. As you can see here, we already deprecate.
Yeah, there you go. Nice.
You're hearing your own voice.
You need to mute your.
All right. So, I've already taken this commandlet called get Azure RM virtual network, and I've put this is just for the purposes of demo. This type is actually not being deprecated.
Thanks.
No is this parameter here. These are just for the purposes of demo, so don't take it too hard. And I'm gonna show what happens when you run the commandlet. So this is an easier way for the authors of the commandlet to communicate with the end users that something in the commandlet is gonna change in the future, and it's a convenient way for messages to pop up. Okay, this is weird. All right, so first I'm just gonna demo the vanilla commandlet without any parameters, and you can see that it calls out that. Ooh, cool and awesome. So like you can see that it's already calling out that like the output type of the commandlet is gonna change in an upcoming release. Next is like if you use the commandlet with a parameter that is being deprecated, then you can see that now we see the warning for the parameter added. You won't see warnings for parameters pop up when they're not consumed, and that's a short and sweet demo. That's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Perry.
Cool.
I'm not seeing any.
We probably want to use it to generate the breaking change guidelines as well, but that's work in progress. It's not happened yet.
Yeah, cool.
Cool.
Awesome. Okay, it looks like Vlad is ready. So Vlad, I'll kick it over. There we go. Kick it over to you. Share your screen.
Can you just press on screen share again, the green button?
Yeah, I think you're done.
I'm done, right?
No, Perry's is done. It looks good.
Okay. Got it.
So Vlad is going to talk a little bit about some more completers that we're working on. Probably 2 or 3 community stand-ups ago, we had Maddie talk about resource group completers that she had worked on. And now Vlad's going to talk about some more completers that we're working on. And then Vlad might also talk about some table format. So
how to share my screen?
Green button top left.
Should be hover over the video, and then top left, there's a green button. Have we introduced people properly? Did I not do that last time?
I think so. I mean,
I got it introduced the last time.
they've been here for
Okay. Vlad, did you get introduced properly last time?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Cool.
can you see my screen?
Yep, you're good to go. I'll kick it over to your screen now. I'll lock it to you.
Oh.
Try diversity.
Cool.
So-
Looks good.
Yes. So in Azure Resource Management world, everything is resources. And to identify a resource like virtual machine or storage account, PowerShell Azure uses a unique identifier called resource ID. So basically, to show everybody knows what is resource ID, but I can output it. So let's say we
Bless you.
So we request all our virtual machines. So basically, it's a URI path that includes all the important information information about where resource is located. It includes subscription ID, resource group name, provider. This is we call this resource type that includes world provider, and then the provider name.
Mm-hmm.
So, and for example, to apply any action to a resource, we need to know its resource ID. But in an interactive mode, it's not easy just to type it because it contains parts that are not easy to remember, like subscription ID or resource type. And for this, we created a resource ID completer. Basically, how it works, if we need to check all available resources on the subscription, we can just type like here we expect to enter resource ID. So we click just tab and it shows us all resources. So so what we can do here is just to filter out whenever we need to filter out. For example, I removed all the part of the resource ID, and now completer will show me that all resource ID that contains the part that I left. So, for example, if I want to iterate through all virtual machines that inside this particular resource group, I just leave this part and click tab, and we see that nothing is there.
Awesome.
So, and the same would apply to names and whatever. So, and then we just need to click enter, and yeah, we can do particular action with a particular resource ID.
Cool.
Basically, this is it.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's good. And, you know, just for the audience's enjoyment, we have some other ideas on how to make more completers and better completers. This is kind of just the next stage of the initial work that we had done with resource group completers. So Vlad's been working on these completers, and we have even more to come, I think, over the next few months to a half a year, let's say. Vlad, did you also want to talk about the table format?
Yes. So let me share my screen. So basically, what we can say here, output is the most important part of any interactive console application that it includes PowerShell and PowerShell Azure. And so our team tries to make the commandlets output more convenient and consistent across all the resource provider. And we are chasing the following two goals. So default output for commandlet should be displayed in a table view, and output should include only essential properties with clear labels. Quick idea how it works by default. So for example, we have a commandlets, and here we have output type. So whenever we call this commandlet, output is basically this class. And if we open this class, it's just a plain class that contains only public properties. And by default, if we want to output it, so we call the commandlet and tell how to format. If we format it like table, it outputs. So basically, on the background, PowerShell reflect on this class and output all the public properties. So, and by default, we see here a couple of drawbacks. For example, here ID and subscription ID are basically duplicates, and we can see current, oh no, so yeah, so current storage account name is empty most of the time, and some properties are just omitted because they didn't fit the screen. And PowerShell provides us a way to format our output. This could be done with format.ps1 XML file, but it's not an easy task to generate this XML file. And we created some mechanism that includes, so first of all, we created an attribute, and this attribute contains some sensitive property that we want to apply to a PowerShell output type. Like we can specify a label, target, now it's whether table or a list. We can specify script block, group by, field, table column width, and position. And how it works, so returning back to the output type above, so we attribute property that we want to see in our output in our format PS1 XML file, and here we specify subscription ID, target, and we specify label and target. So, and then we start our special tool, and eventually we will see output.
Cool.
Output that it will, that is changed a little. So
yeah.
And so and if you would like, I can show how the tool works if you have time.
Either way, this shows it off pretty well. So the question here, though, at the end of the day, this is meant to help, people who write commandlets, similar to the deprecation features that we have. Basically, there's things that PowerShell can do. Sometimes it can be a little difficult to, build your commandlets and then go edit the PS1 XML and things like that, or to put warning messages for deprecations and things like that. So this is a case where, as a developer, all you have to do is drop these little attributes onto your properties in your classes, and then you'll get this XML generation for free. So you don't have to, it kind of keeps the source of truth all in that C# file, right?
Yes. So because if you want to generate this format.ps1 XML file from scratch, it will be hard to find a documentation how to do this.
Yeah.
Basically, they recommend just copy paste some original file and then manually input some fields, and just a manual error-prone work. And with this tool, it's kind of it's just a matter of attributing your output type, and the tool does all the work with for you.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Thank you, Vlad. It looks like I am next. So, and I've got a bunch of stuff, it looks like. So before we move on, we do have one question that I've gotten. Two questions, actually. The first one is for tab completion. if you have lots of subscriptions, does it just list the subs first in the view? And the answer to that today is no. Again, we're looking at ways to make the tab completion even better for things like resource group and resource ID. Right now, that completion is just a flat list of all of those IDs. Now, the thing that's nice is it is at least using the type and the resource type of that commandlet. So you'll notice that when Vlad did get Azure MVM, it was only a list of IDs, or sorry, update or whatever, restart, I think it was. And you tabbed on ID, you only saw IDs of VMs, right? So there is that, but there's not kind of a paring down, like there's not first tab through subscription, then tab through resource group. Right now, it's just going to be a flat list. But like I said, we are investigating other ways to make other improvements there.
So since I'm contractually required to say this, send feedback, especially around the ID completer. We've got some ideas on how to make this even better, but let us know what you think.
Yeah. So like Scott said, send dash feedback. He's not saying send feedback.
I froze Aaron.
Oh, I froze? Am I still frozen? Am I good now? I think they're frozen, actually.
Oh, there we go.
I think you guys were frozen. So just to clarify, though, when Scott says send feedback, he's not saying the English words send feedback. Am I still frozen?
No, you're good.
You're good.
Okay. I'm saying the commandlet send feedback. So send dash feedback. Type that into your console right now if you want and send feedback. I got another question here that someone has noticed that with the tab completion that the Windows Server 2019 is not coming through when tabbing through image name. That's actually not an issue in so much as that image is not in our list of like short name images right now. It probably will be at some point in the future. It just isn't right now. So that tab completion is actually over a set list of images that hasn't been updated yet for the Windows Server 2019 images. Perry, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's, yeah, okay. Got another question. Well, someone just following up on that subscription thing, that maybe we should do more investigation into make that subscription tab completion a little bit better, because this person has over 200 subscriptions, which is, that's rough. That's rough, man. That hurts.
That does hurt.
But yeah, like you said, there are customers like you who have 200 subscriptions, and like we said, we're looking at ways to make the tab completion even better. And I will say, please check either Twitter or Yammer if you came here from Yammer. I sent a request for people to do interviews with me for customer interviews, so please fill that out and hit me up for an interview, and we can delve a little bit more into what your scenarios are and things like that. Unfortunately, we've got a lot of me talking now, so I might skip over. I feel bad. I feel like I also feel that like Cormac and Maddie aren't getting any airtime. Do you guys want to say anything?
That's all right. I don't feel bad about that.
I'm good.
What are you guys working on right now?
Stuff.
We're gonna
Things.
stuff.
What about Scott? Scott got his quintessential send feedback in.
I'm looking at stuff, things. So it's more about the next semester planning and the high level goals of what we're trying to achieve.
Yep.
And I don't know if I want to tell you any more right now. I think I want to surprise you next community stand up.
Okay.
Wow them.
Wow.
What a cop out.
Co-sounders, by the way.
What if, all right, cool. I will go ahead and share my screen then here. Is it flashing, or is that just me seeing it flash?
It's flashing.
Is
Why would it do such a thing? That's terrifying. Let's try that one more time. Hey, that looks better.
There we go. There we're good.
Cool. And I think it's locked on me in the video, so that's good. Okay, I've got just a few things. The first thing I wanted to talk about is we've made a bunch of reference documentation improvements, and so just a quick shout out to our documentation team. We've put a lot of effort into, we've talked about in the past aligning our builds with CLI and Cloud Shell, and then trying to get documentation out within an hour or two of our release and things like that. So we've done a lot of that good stuff. One of the big pieces of comments that we often got is, hey, this property isn't properly, displayed in the docs. And it turns out it actually wasn't because the docs were old. It was because our pipeline had a few issues here and there. But that is fixed now. I wanted to show two things. First of all, if you're in our documentation, so here we are, we're in the latest release. This will actually bump to 6.4 on Tuesday, correct? So, but if you are on the latest release, you can click edit here, and this will drop you right to the markdown file in our repository. So our repository is the source of truth for all of this documentation, and this edit button drops you right to that file. The cool thing here is that the docs are also kind of smart. We don't update older versions in line, like in our repository. They're maintained elsewhere. So if you click edit on them, you'll get the correct one in the docs repository that is maintaining the older versions. But for the latest versions, you get dropped right into our repo where those markdown files are. So feel free to send PRs if you notice something that you want to add an example to or something like that. Feel free to also file issues on us whenever you see doc issues. To go along with that, if you scroll down to the bottom, the comment system has been, oh wait, it's not in these files. They don't have that in these files because they're editable. But in our other documentation, say getting started, you scroll down to the bottom, the comment system has been updated. So there's two links here, one for documentation feedback and one for product feedback. So if you click the product feedback one, that'll bring you right into our repo with our issue template. You can file a product issue. And then also documentation feedback. So it will ask you to sign in to GitHub, because this title and comment actually get turned into a GitHub issue in our docs repo. And then it also gives you an opportunity to see all the closed issues that have already been filed against this doc. And then, the fact that we've addressed them and things like that. So feel free to check out some of these new features in our documentation here. Pretty cool stuff. And we're really excited about how much, the docs kind of become a portal into customer feedback as well. Instead of just being these static things that kind of hang out there, we've got these mechanisms that make it easier for you as customers to bring your issues to us and let us know what's going on. Cool. Bala wasn't able to make it, but we just wanted to mention really quickly that the latest version of the Azure Stack modules have been updated. So if you use Azure Stack, those admin modules have been updated recently. So check that out if you use Azure Stack. The other thing that is future, we're in the future zone now. And I think I might, actually, Perry, I'm going to let you go next. Can you just do a quick thing? What is wildcard support? I'll stop sharing for a moment here.
So as we talked about wildcards and wildcard support in the last stand-up, it's about enabling users to specify, for various get commandless, they can wildcard either the resource group name or the resource name, so that you get results for that particular for resources that match that whatever wildcard you have specified. The work is still somewhere in the future, maybe in the next couple of months. It's not happened yet, unfortunately. And
cool. Yeah,
I don't have much to add about it.
That's perfect. Okay, I'm actually going to share my screen one more time here while we close it out. Uh-oh, it's going to show me watching the YouTube video of us, which is good.
Inception.
There we go. Inception. Yeah, so one thing that we wanted to talk about, and again, another shout out to our doc team, we are going to start documenting our output types. So you'll notice that on a lot of commandlets, we've got these nice, pretty output types here, but you can't really do that's. I can't click on it. I'm so sad. So what we're doing is our documentation team is going to take our modules. They're going to crack them open, look at the, reflect over the binary and look at the doc.xml and document these types. And then we'll actually have links for these output types into that documentation. Now, obviously they're .NET types, so it's going to look a lot like .NET documentation. But it's just a little bit easier than just saying, okay, cool. I see that it outputs something, but I have no idea what that actually is. So that should be coming up soonish. I think we're looking to make that live in about a month or so. So check that out when that comes live. We had one other thing here. We're getting towards the end, but this is the most interesting stuff. This is where it gets heavy. So I'm going to stop. So we are, Yanni alluded to this. He looks like he had to head out, but like we said, we are working on making the Azure PowerShell modules cross-platform. We've got Azure RM, which works against .NET Framework and works in PowerShell 5.1, so it works on Windows. And then we've got Azure RM.NET Core, like we said, almost 100% feature complete. It's built against .NET Core, and it works on PowerShell 6 in all environments. So Windows, Mac, Linux, whatever. The difference between those two right now, though, is that they're strongly targeted. So they target certain runtimes to a strong degree. That means that the .NET Core modules can only work in a PowerShell 6 .NET Core app runtime, and the .NET Framework modules can only work in a PowerShell 5 .NET Framework runtime. So what we're doing is we're creating one module to rule them all. Azure RM will be kind of phased out. Azure M.NET Core will go away, and we're going to ship one module built against .NET Standard. So that means that it will work in both PowerShell 6 on .NET Core app as a runtime and PowerShell 5 on .NET Framework as a runtime. The module itself isn't going to change that much. Most of our code is exactly the same. It's just that we're building it against a generic target that works for multiple runtimes. So that's kind of the first piece. And I will tell you when that timing is in just a moment. The first piece is building against .NET Standard. So we'll have one module in all places. One module build target. Obviously, we'll still have the same hierarchy that we have today. The second piece is we're going to rename our module to AZ. And then the third piece is that we are going to rename the prefixes for all of our commandlets. It's pretty straightforward. Get Azure MVM will become get AZVM. New Azure MVM will become new AZVM, so on and so forth. And then the fourth and kind of smallest piece, but it's kind of not a major thing, but it's something that we're doing along the same lines, is that we will, when we ship this module, so we're going to ship the .NET Standard module with AZ in the name for the module and AZ in the commandlet names. We're also shipping that module with backward compatible aliases. So when you download the new module, so you uninstall module Azure RM, you install module AZ, your scripts should work just fine. There are some other changes that are going on, but those are all like orthogonal. So in general, your scripts will not need to be changed. Now, obviously, we want people to start to upgrade. We want people to move to the new AZ prefixes. But if you don't, there will be aliases there to help you along. We're working with a bunch of internal partner teams to make this transition smooth. Cloud Shell, Stack, Automation, VSTS. We're also working with our docs team. So this move is happening in late September. So right now we're thinking about having kind of an internal preview August timeframe, and then late September will be mid to late September. We will release the new modules. In general, there's not a lot of change going on for you and your scripts. It's just the kind of the brand new world of .NET Standard and AZ in the module name. Did you guys have anything that you wanted to add to that?
Well, you said 4 that we are not having breaking changes because alias is a small thing. I want to correct you there. That's not a small thing. We're not breaking your scripts. That's a big thing. Any new commandlet will not have this alias, so it'll only have the AZ. So if you're going to use the old style, obviously in a script you're fine, but you'll have to find these things with the shorter name.
Yeah.
And then this will probably also be a breaking change release, which is out of our normal cycle of breaking change releases. So if that concerns you in any way, shape, or form, let us know. We're doing this because we don't want to have to support 2 sets. We just want to be able to support 1. So this helps our partners internally, ourselves, and in the long run, you, our customers as well. So it is out of sync and out of cadence, but we think it benefits everybody, so it's worth doing it. So scream, yell, jump up and down if you think that's a horrific idea, and then we'll blame Aaron.
Yeah, but I just wanted to clarify that when we say breaking change release, we're just saying there will be changes to commandlets that will break, but it will be less than 1% of the total surface area. You know, we'll just allow breaking changes, but it's not because of this name change and things like that that things will break. It's orthogonal. That's an orthogonal effort.
That's the third time you've said orthogonal.
Well, I want to say it's got the name change, and then any other breaks are separate from that. Okay, cool. We had one other question. Somebody asked, is tab completion sensitive to the environment you're in, like government cloud? Definitely. So if you're actually switching directories or you're switching clouds that you're targeting, the tab completion is going to only target that endpoint. I think that's all the questions. We did have one person ask a question about cognitive services in Azure PowerShell. Today, we do not have any cognitive services commandlets. If cognitive services is more of a data plane type operation. There's less of an account and more of, I have a picture. I'm going to send you a picture. You're going to give me back a JSON result about what's in the picture or a short sentence to describe that picture, things like that. It will probably be in a different set of commandlets or a different set of modules if they do build anything, but I will talk to them since we got that question and see if they have any plans for cognitive services commandlets today. They do have a .NET SDK, so if you want to either build a .NET app or load the binary and run the SDK from in PowerShell, you can do that, but I'll talk to them about that. I think that's all the questions we got. You guys have anything else to add before we close out?
Can you move that cat? It's giving itself a bath behind you. It's freaking.
Here, I'll just put my head.
There you go. Big head in the way.
Yeah. All right, cool. I think that's it. Thank you, everyone who joined. Guys, we had at least 15 viewers the whole time.
Woohoo!
And we got up to 23 at one point.
Nice.
So thanks, everyone, for joining us. Send feedback, file issues on GitHub. Let us know what's going on. Hit me up on Twitter to see how to sign up for a slot to interview with me. That's basically it. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a nice day.
Peace out.
Thank you.